thank you for joining us for State View, a program that looks at how decisions made on Beacon Hill affect you living here in the city. Joining me today from the 1st Norfolk District is Representative Bruce Ayers. Bruce, welcome back.
Well, thanks, Mark. It's nice to be here again. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about some of the issues going on in Beacon Hill.
And we should mention that the content for programs like this really comes from constituents.
Yeah, what we try to do is a lot of the topics that we talk about are based on the volume of emails, phone calls, letters, requests we have for certain issues, information, and resources that might be available.
The American Rescue Plan Act funds that have come into the state, the governor just signed off on those.
That's right. $4 billion. Speaker Mariano deserves a lot of credit. He wanted to make sure that before the federal funds were released, that there were a number of hearings. He established a committee. Wanted to make sure that through those hearings, that everybody got an opportunity to testify and find out and identify where the money is needed the most. And there's a whole array of areas, as you can imagine. There's mental health, there's infrastructure, there's education, senior services, just a whole array of areas where we're able to hear the testimony, go into more of the weeds, so to speak, to find out just where we can help those areas of concern recover from these COVID setbacks.
Right. I mean, workforce development, essential workers, obviously, infrastructure.
Those are excellent areas. And, one that really hits home is dealing, of course, with our seniors, our veterans, home care workers. They're a great example. We want to make sure that these home care workers, are compensated. They're overworked. It's hard. We need to have some retention. We need to be able to recruit these home care workers for our seniors so they can live a more independent lifestyle. Agencies like the South Shore Elder Services and others do a great job, but we need to help them with their workforce. And COVID really hit that industry hard, the healthcare industry. So, there's money coming, to these agencies that will be trickling down. Our frontline workers, the people who were there throughout the whole 2 years, working day in and day out. These are the people we want to make sure are fully compensated. You mentioned workforce development. It's a key area. A lot of people lost their job. The hospitality industry took it particularly hard, and other areas to no fault of the individual, their work ethic. And now, they're looking to change professions, and they need help. They need new trainings, new skills, and we want to make sure that those services and resources are available to them.
It's really hard to wrap your mind around the pandemic and everything that was a result of that. Obviously, folks have passed, and that is so sad, passed from the pandemic as a result of contracting COVID-19. But then you look at folks and their jobs that have been affected because people weren't out there utilizing that particular service, whether it be a restaurant or some other service industry related job.
That's right. It's an excellent point. Particularly given the holidays now and throughout the year, a lot of people coming up with the Christmas holiday, tend to shop online. They like the convenience of it. But, there's a lot of great local small businesses that offer the same products and services, so we want to keep in mind that, these small businesses took it really hard, and we ought to give them a second look before we go shopping this season, because they may be able to help out with the same products. They're always there for the community. They're always there sponsoring the teams or offering help, and so it's time we give them some help in return.
That's a good point. My wife actually works for a small business, and tonight, as a matter of fact, or tomorrow night, the business, along with some area small businesses, is going to have a little kind of a holiday stroll. And again, it just shows that connection to the community, which you really don't get from a lot of big concerns. It's the small businesses that really have that sense of community and really play a big part in how a community exists and how it grows.
That's right. You know, they're the backbone, as they say, of the community. They sponsor the Little League teams. They're always there to step up in charitable events. And there's great small businesses out there. And Tim Cahill deserves a lot of credit too with the chamber for what he's done with that. So I definitely encourage people to take a look around maybe before they start to shop online, and they might find right in our backyard what they're looking for.
Investments in housing and home ownership is also part of that bill.
That's right. Housing, home ownership, rental housing, key components, you know, particularly with the COVID. And then even closer to home, you know, what the delegation tries to do is assess, you know, the statewide concerns and then also our district concerns. And I give a lot of credit to John Keenan and Taki Chan and Dan Hunt, and also obviously the speaker. But we were very successful in the city of Quincy. We got I think $1.7 million for local projects, you know, that included $600,000 for dredging, $600,000 for the Thomas Graham Library, $400,000 for the Marina Bay Ferry to help with the infrastructure. Of course, the goal there is to support a full-time ferry service. But along with that, you know, comes associated costs and maintenance, the things that need to help develop those types of programs. Additional monies for a number of different causes. So we were very lucky and very fortunate to be able to bring home some of that funding.
Let's look now to a different topic, the Long Island Bridge, and talk about that now in relation to the new mayor in the city of Boston, and that would be Michelle Wu, and how her plan is actually looking to benefit the city of Quincy.
Yes, a big change, you know, and I certainly congratulate the new mayor, wish her luck. But the new mayor in the office obviously will have major implications for the future of Long Island Bridge, of the Long Island Bridge and other issues that affect the city. But she was the only candidate that spoke out against rebuilding the bridge. You know, she leaned towards a ferry service, which was what all the Quincy officials have been advocating for. So that was a great sign, you know. And I think there's been a shift mark of a different kind of approach or vision that some of the government officials are looking at now to address this problem at Mass and Cass. I give credit to the governor who recently took an audit, an inventory of a lot of the state-owned buildings that were unoccupied and available. The Shattuck Hospital is probably a good example. A former hospital, I think it was 260 rooms on a 13-acre parcel of land. The infrastructure was ideal. It was dormitory-style rooms, cafeterias. This is something that could be easily repurposed to help with some of the treatment that is needed. And it's a multifaceted problem that deserves a multifaceted approach. You know, we've got housing needs, we've got mental health needs, we've got addiction needs, and also employment assistance to help people get back on their feet. So the governor did a great job with working on that, and the new mayor, Mayor Wu, seems to be taking the same approach. I know just recently there was talk about the city taking over the Roundhouse former hotel next to the Boston City Hospital, the corner of Mass and Cass, for that same purpose. You know, so it's really a regional problem. It's not necessarily a Boston problem, a Quincy problem. It's all across the Commonwealth and all across the country, as we know. But I think what's more important is we need to work together to share our resources, in contrast to building a bridge to an island in the middle of Boston Harbor, you know, which would cost another $150, $200 million to build a bridge. And then the second part of that, which a lot of people don't realize, is once they have access to the island, they have to build the facilities or rebuild and repurpose what's out there. So you're talking 5-10 years before something like that would even go online, you know, and God forbid you and I have a loved one in our family that needed this type of help or service, you know, you want to be able to give them treatment soon, now, you know, in a dignified way. So I think to take a look at these other facilities, these buildings that may be unoccupied, do the audit, do an inventory, see what might be conducive in these areas is a great approach. You know, It's going to save time, it'll save money, and it'll save lives in the long run.
You talked about, just prior to us sitting down, the number of bridges that really need attention, money, to be maintained. Quite a few, and you wonder if one's going to be rebuilt that really doesn't get that much traffic, is it worth rebuilding?
Yeah, that's a great point, Mark. You know, I think the latest report from Mass Highway was there 462 structurally deficient bridges in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And all these bridges need repair. They're old, they're outdated. There was a problem with maintenance over the years, which, you know, we will be getting ARPA funding for. But that's a great example. We need to prioritize the bridges that are going to give us the most investment on our return. Bridges that go towards the city, to downtown, towards, you know, commerce. You know, in contrast to maybe a bridge to an island, you know, that maybe serves 300 or 400 cars a day. You need a bridge that's going to help us with the economic recovery, which could have 50 to 100,000 cars a day. So, you know, there's a formula that we need to approach to make sure that this money is being well spent when we replace these bridges.
Let's talk about Moon Island, so we're coming closer to land, and a proposal for a fish farm. I think I mentioned to you, I heard you a couple weeks ago on National Public Radio talking about this.
Yes, it caught the attention of some of the radio stations, you know, because it's kind of a unique opportunity. And
I will say that we should have some images on the screen. Maybe you can relate the area that we're talking about to those images.
Oh, perfect. This is a big help. What we're looking at is Moon Island, and that is the former sewer treatment plant. And as you can see, it is huge. It has 4 granite tanks that hold together 50 million gallons. They're 900 feet long by 150 feet wide and 17 feet deep, and the walls between them are 7 feet thick. And this is granite block. So my idea or the concept here is to study the feasibility of repurposing the abandoned treatment plant into a fish farm.
And I think we do have some closer images too. Maybe we could go to those. There we go.
Yeah. So you could see, if you there's not many fish farms in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and there certainly aren't any that have kind of the infrastructure in place that is surrounded by water that you could maybe work into repurpose into a positive use. You know, the concept here would be, I filed legislation, to have the Mass Game and Fish study the feasibility of repurposing this, to come up with the feasibility of doing this and associated costs. But as you can see, there's a tremendous amount of room here, and what we would be using here would be shellfish, clams, bass, eelgrass. It would help with the ecosystem, cleaning up the water. And we've also reached out to some of the schools that love the idea to maybe get involved with some of the students, and also the environmental impacts it will have. So it's a positive use. I forwarded the legislation I filed to Mayor Wu and her administration. You know, with a new mayor and a new administration come new ideas and new policies. And the concept was, you know, to see maybe what the administration thinks of this idea. Of course, it's on Moon Island, so it's going to be something that would have to be worked out, obviously, with both the two cities. But I think it's something that, you know, is worth pursuing, that the city officials could work on together. It's a positive use. Something eventually is going to go there. Why don't we try to use a concept that's conducive to the island, that would be for the betterment of the area?
We had discussed, or rather I had discussed with Senator Keenan, a colleague of yours, about how his district is going to change. He's being added to, I believe. Redistricting is the topic that we're going to next, and what can you say about that and what the legislature has entertained recently?
Yes, with the redistricting, and I know John had picked up, I believe, Hanover and other towns, but and a great guy to work with. You know, John's district changed, and mine did also.
It did.
It did. You know, every 10 years, and after the census, you know, we have to do the redistricting. And because of some of the growth in areas and other areas that didn't have such growth, the district lines will shift. So my district now hasn't changed too much, but I'm picking back up Ward 3, Precinct 3. And for the viewers who might not know that area, that's, if you were coming over the Neponset Bridge coming into Quincy, that's everything on the right-hand side. You know, it's State Street South, it's President's Golf Course, there's great neighborhoods up there, there's Harriet Ave, Montclair Ave, Pope Street, which is currently being represented by Dan Hunt, Representative Hunt. But the major portion of Representative Hunt's district is Boston and Dorchester. And 10 years ago, when Marty Walsh was the rep, he had to come over to Quincy to pick up numbers to get it up to 40,000 constituents.
So will Representative Hunt not have any representation in the city now?
Not anymore.
Okay.
He, you know, just to clarify, he will up until the end of 2022. Beginning in 2023, if I'm lucky enough to get reelected, I will be representing that area. But, you know, there's a lot of things going on now that we're looking forward to. Obviously looking forward to working with Councilor Kane in that area. You know, I spoke with Joe Shea and some of the county commissioners, Treasurer Bellotti. They have a plan now to do over the playground up in that area. They've got some great plans that they're going to be coming forward with in the near future. We're going to try to get some money at the State House to help support that. But you know, they work hard. They do a lot of work. So it's a nice neighborhood. I'm really excited to get it back because it really belongs in Quincy, and you know, we're looking forward to working with everybody involved.
It's certainly a science how districting and redistricting happens. You know, when you look at the numbers.
It is. I'm glad it happens only once every 10 years because it's like making a sausage.
It's a maddening process, right?
You don't want to see what goes into it.
Alzheimer's and early Alzheimer's. Talk about legislation regarding that particular disease.
Yes, this is a bill that I'm working on now that deals with the Alzheimer's, in particularly early onset Alzheimer's. You know, a constituent had come to me. His wife, unfortunately, had suffered from early onset. She was 52 when she was diagnosed, and they tried to get assistance through Mass Health. Unfortunately, they did not qualify because of the age. She had to be 60 years old. So, you know, Mass Health has the Frail Elder Waiver, which offers assisted living care services through that program at home. So people can take advantage of these services at their own home rather than a nursing facility. But they couldn't qualify for that because of the age provision. What my legislation will do is simply remove that age restriction so that these people who suffer from this disease could take advantage of these types of services in their own home and a nurturing, loving environment, you know, to keep a loved one at home. It's a personal issue for me. I think I told you my mom suffered from Alzheimer's for 10 years before she passed, and it's hard to see someone you love go through this. For me, with my mom, you had someone who taught you everything you know, who becomes someone that doesn't even know you. You know, so more needs to be done, and what this legislation would do would help address that. You know, it's a small population, but one that's critically important. I think each year there's over 200,000 people that are diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in the United States alone. So it's a great bill. I have over 50 co-sponsors on both sides of the aisle. We're optimistic. I have support from the Chairman of Elder Affairs, Representative Stanley, so we're advocating for that. If any of the viewers would like more information or like to get involved, I certainly encourage them to give me a call. I'd be happy to tell them more about it.
And it's a shame that age should play a part in treatment.
That's right. That's right. You know, it goes to show you where a lot of these laws, a lot of times need to be reassessed, tweaked to try to find out. And that was another great thing with all the ARPA hearings that the speaker had called for, because he really had an opportunity to hear from the people and all these different areas of concern that are in the trenches that could give a thorough explanation of what we need, why we need it, and their assessment of everything. So that's what we're always trying to do at the State House too. The legislature every 2 years comes up with refiling their bills, to address the needs of their district and the Commonwealth. So it's a good process. It's something we're always working on together to improve.
You were recently a victim of a fraudulent, I believe, message from Facebook, or a message using the Facebook platform. So talk about that. Talk about overall scams and frauds.
Sure. Especially this time of year, Mark, with the holiday, there's a number of scams where people will just try to prey on people, saying they're a charitable donation or making up some bogus organization to try to get your information. There's their preferred way is either the phone or the internet. So the scam you're referring to, someone had basically took my identity, set up an Instagram account, and they were able to send a message to my friends on Facebook. And what the message was geared to getting their personal information. What they do is they start out, they'll ask you a few questions, how you doing? And then the follow-up question was, did you hear about the additional COVID funding that's available? Of course, to get you to kind of buy into, give you their information, their birth date, the social security number, information that they'll steal from you to open up a bank account, to steal your identity, to put a credit card together, whatever they tend to do with it. So, we would definitely want to make people aware that you got to stay vigilant out there, particularly now. And, there's nothing embarrassing about getting scammed. It happens to all of us, happens to the best of us, in a sense. There's the one that calls that says your Social Security has been compromised. There's the Medicare one. They seem to prey on seniors and college-age students with student loans. So you got to stay vigilant. If you get scammed, it's important that you report it. The Attorney General's office is responsible for pursuing these things. You want to get on, if you're not, the do not call list for the state and federally, nationally. So there's resources out there that can help you, if you tend to get scammed. But if you're not sure of who it is, you're not familiar with it, don't take the call. You can call the police, you can call our offices, the Attorney General's office, if you have any concerns like that. It's better to err on the side of caution.
Absolutely. We're moving so fast in this program. We only have about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about the Helping Hand program.
The Helping Hand program is a program that we operate. It works on people donating equipment to us, which we turn around and donate to people free of charge. And this item just came in. It's a stand-up walker, and this is available now. It's free. If anyone out there watching your show might be interested in it, it might be the difference between them staying homebound and getting out and around. That's certainly available.
There's actually another item as well that just came in.
Yeah, this other one here just came in the other day. A gentleman called, wanted to donate, and this is one of those stand-up sofas. So if you're sitting in the sofa, there's a cord that pops it up, and it helps you stand up and obviously get out. But these are just a couple items that are out there that are available. They are expensive. If you were to go out and try to purchase these, so the key thing is we want to let people know that they're free, they're available. Give us a call. If we have it, we'll help you. We tend to get wheelchairs, walkers, crutches, canes, commodes, hospital beds. So we usually have a realm on those. But these items are out there, and the whole intent is to help defray the costs for our seniors, our veterans, that are living on a fixed income. And all of a sudden you might find that you need a standing sofa, which could cost you $700-800, and it's something that is really going to help them with their mobility needs. So give us a call if we have it. We'll help you. And they can also go on our website, for these items and put in a request.
We do have a website up on screen. Is that the site that folks can find
yes.
more about the Helping Hand program?
Yeah, that's correct. They can go on that website, follow down the link to the Helping Hand program, and there's equipment request form where they can fill out a database. So if they're looking for a wheelchair, If they're looking for a tub bench or any of these items, you know, they can put it right on there. And when something comes in, we'll give them a call.
Talk about toy drives.
Yeah, again, you know, with the holiday, you know, and the COVID, you know, it's tough. You know, you see a lot of people. I get a lot of calls, you know, for people looking for unemployment assistance. You know, they might be lost their job to no fault of their own. So, you know, we want to make sure that people realize there's help out there. We have an annual toy drive we do every year. I know there's a lot of great organizations throughout the city that do the same. You know, so we want to urge people, if they're in need of toys, give us a call. We don't have it, we'll reach out to one of the other toy drive organizations that are working with it. This year, again, we're working with the Squantum School. We're also working with the Squantum Seaside Gardeners. They're great. They do it every year. We have a bunch of unwrapped toys that we can work with residents in need, depending on what the age groups are, boy, girl, things like that.
Can folks still donate
They can.
toys?
Oh,
Okay.
sure. Absolutely. If they'd like to donate, we certainly encourage that. We want to make sure, you know, that people know that these resources are out there and available. It's all done discreetly. No one, you know. So the Toys for Tots, the Marines, they're always there to help people out. So we work with a lot of great people that do the same, and just want to spread the word, let people know it's out there.
And lastly, the Elks and the Elks Scholarship.
Sure. And again, you know, there's a lot of great organizations the city of Quincy has, fraternal organizations, veterans organizations that have scholarship programs. The Elks is one of them. You know, this time of year, a lot of the parents, a lot of the high school seniors are looking to see what opportunities for scholarships might be out there. You know, they're committing to a college, they're finding out what college costs, and they're looking to find out what we can do for some
I'm there.
financial assistance, you know.
Yes.
So the Elks, the Quincy Elks deserve a lot of credit. You know, Julie Creed and the Exalted Ruler, the trustees and officers, they do a lot to help the kids. There is a local scholarship program that it's run through the lodge. There's a state scholarship that we work with collectively through the state organization. That scholarship is good for every year the students in school. They can reapply. There's a national scholarship. There's also a technical school scholarship, an associate's scholarship. So these types of programs are out there. I know I'm more familiar with the Elks, but like I say, the Lions Club, the Kiwanis, and all these other organizations, we certainly encourage people to look into those too, because they all do a great job. But if they're interested in getting information on the Elks, give us a call. I can mail you out an application. The local lodge applications are available now. They're due back March 15th. The state scholarship application is available now, and that's due back January 15th. But we'll be happy to share all those scholarship opportunities and information with people.
Very good. Well, we've come to the end of the program. A fast-moving program is always full of a lot of information, though, so thank you so much.
Great. Mark, thank you. We certainly appreciate all your help throughout the year to let us kind of spread the word what's happening on Beacon Hill, and I know I certainly appreciate your friendship and support. Thank you.
Thank you. We enjoy that you take us up on the invitation to come in, and we'll continue it into 2022.
Great. Look forward to it.
Thank you. And thank you at home for watching. You have been watching a program of Quincy Access Television. Please continue to watch QATV for more locally produced programming.